Yeah, it's on. Good afternoon, folks. We'll now open the meeting for the Washoe County Open Space and Regional Park Commission. I'm going to take roll call, please.
Doug Doolittle.
Present.
Stephanie Chen.
Present.
Timothy Dake.
Present.
Maxwell D. Natale is out. Kevin Joel. So I see he's in the waiting room. He just hasn't quite joined us yet, but he's here. Nicholas Martin Kearney.
Present.
Darla Lee. She doesn't appear to be here. Omer Raines.
Here, present.
Lisa Rode.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Homer, do you want to lead us? Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 3 is public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to make any public comments, either items not on the agenda or on the agenda?
We have no public comment.
Okay, thank you. Item 4, approval of the agenda for the Open Space and Regional Park Commission meeting of August 2nd, 2022. I do have one change on this. Item number 11 is going to be at a future meeting. It will not be on this meeting, so item number 11 will be struck from the agenda for today's meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve as amended.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Item number 5 is approval of the minutes for the Open Space and Regional Park Commission meeting of June 7, 2022. Are there any comments on the minutes or discussion? Any public comments? Do I have a motion to approve?
So motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Item 6, acknowledgement and recognition of park operations staff for their outstanding service and contributions to Washoe County. There are plenty of outstanding staff, but none to be recognized today. So we'll move on. Item 7, introduction and welcome of new Open Space and Regional Park Commissioner Omer L. Raines.
Good afternoon. For the record, Dave Solero, Assistant County Manager. Just want to take a moment to recognize that we do have a new Park Commissioner, Mr. Omer Raines. Commissioner Raines actually lives in Crystal Bay, so it's a little bit different, I think, from the park commissions in the past. So it's great to have someone on the commission, with a different perspective than some of the other commissioners that we've had in the past. So welcome to the Open Space and Park Commission. So,
Thank you.
Absolutely, thanks.
Welcome, Omer. Thanks for being here. And if I haven't said this before, thanks to all the new commissioners so that we can now have quorums for all of our meetings. I appreciate it. Okay, item 8, election of the Open Space and Regional Parks Commission Chair and Vice Chair for a term of August 2nd, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. Are there any nominations? Okay. Maybe I didn't speak loud enough. Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate someone. Can I nominate Kevin Joel as chair?
Okay.
This is Commissioner Joel. May I nominate Doug Doolittle as chair?
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay, we'll close the nominations for chair. How do we go about this with two nominees?
If you want, you can split the item up into two different votes. You can go ahead and entertain a motion. It sounds like the nominations perhaps were each motions in and of themselves. And so if they get a second, I recommend calling for public comment and then calling for a vote. And I do recommend making sure you ask if anyone is opposed to the vote, as well as in favor of the vote.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There are two nominations, Kevin Joel and Doug Doolittle. Are there any seconds for either one of them? Is that what we need to do?
Yeah, I'll second Doug Doolittle.
And it sounds like there's no other second for the motion that Kevin Joel be nominated as chair. So Doug, as acting chair, you're welcome to call for public comment and proceed with a vote on that motion.
Thank you.
And I do recommend that you do not vote because it affects you.
I wasn't planning to. All right. Is there any public comment on this item?
No public comment.
Hearing no public comment. Those in favor of the motion to elect Doug Doolittle as chair, please say yes or aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion so moved.
I guess we passed the Doug Doolittle is accepting the.
Yeah. It was approved that Doug Doolittle be chair for the period August 2nd, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. Since Doug Doolittle was the vice chair, now we need a nomination for vice chair. Is there a nomination for vice chair?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Dake. I nominate Stephanie Chen as vice chair.
Is there a second for that? Oops. Is there a second for that nomination?
I will second.
Are there any other nominations?
Can I nominate Nicholas Martin Kearney?
Yes, you may. Is there a second for that nomination? Hearing no second for that nomination, is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Hearing no public comment, we'll act on the motion, which is to nominate Stephanie Chen for vice chair. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right, Stephanie Chen, congratulations. You are now vice chair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes item number 8. And now I have the pleasure of introducing item number 9, or Colleen will introduce, or somebody will, one of the rangers will introduce item number 9, which is the Eagle Scout presentation.
Hello, I'm Ranger Brett Hartman,
I'm Ranger Red Muratori.
and we have here Bryce Fiorello. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name.
Yeah, he came to us this last fall and he was looking for a project, so we suggested a project for him, and he took took a hold of it and ran with it. So we really appreciate what he did. I'm going to let him explain what he did.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Bryce Fiorello, and I'm going to be talking about my presentation that I did here at Bartley Ranch Regional Park, where I made these clean dog dropping containers. So how the idea for the project started, I first started by going to Bartley Ranch and meeting with Ranger Red and Ranger Hartman. I asked them if they had any projects that they needed help with at the park that I could also use for my Eagle project. They said that there were these clean dog dropping bag containers that had been there for a really long time. These containers had become very worn down and needed to be replaced. So here's some pictures of the old containers. You can see that they're delaminating, and you can't see it very well in this picture, but one of the hinges is broken. So right here you can see better how the hinge is broken. You can also see more delamination and how the wood is very faded and old. So they really needed to be replaced. So we had some new design requirements. I brought here a little replica or a little prototype that I brought to show you guys. So together with Ranger Red and Ranger Hartman, we discussed the design requirements. It needed to be durable and last a really long time. So after a few design iterations, we ended up with the prototype. So right here, this is an ABS plastic pipe, and it's 6 inches in diameter. And right here, at the shortest part, it is 18 inches tall, then 22 inches tall, and at the tallest, it's 24 inches tall. You can see that there isn't a sticker added yet, but I do add a sticker later on that says clean dog dropping, bags only. And we also used a thicker aluminum top to make it last a lot longer. So here's another picture of the prototype, and it has some pop rivets in it and some washers so it didn't split the plastic or the aluminum cap. So after the design was approved, Troop 15 got to work. So you can see right here we're sanding all the containers down, and they've already been cut. We cut them, and you can just see we have like a supply chain going on. And yeah. So once we were done billing, we had 12 containers. There isn't 12 containers in this picture, but at the end of the day, we had finished 12 containers. And yeah. So once we had all the containers, we began installing them, my dad and I. We only had to install 6 out of the 12 containers, so we gave Ranger Red the remaining 6 to install at the other parks or where he saw fit. And you can see there's a sticker that says clean dog dropping bags, and we got that so that it's like waterproof and sun resistant, so they're going to last a really long time. And you can see me removing the old box that had gone very worn down, and you can see me installing the new one. And that's what they looked like after they'd been installed. You can see the clean dog dropping bags sticker on top of it. And there's some, yeah. We all had to move the trash can to the back of it because it was not working with how everything was situated, how we needed the container to be. And lastly, here's a special thanks to Ranger Red and Ranger Hartman for being a really big help on helping coordinate and schedule the project. A really big thanks to Western Nevada Supply for the pipe and the caps, which would have been really, really expensive had they not gave us the materials. Also, Fast Signs for the stickers. That was really nice of them, and these are going to last a really long time. And lastly, Troop 15 for the support and helping me build the containers. I could not have done it without them. So, is there any questions?
That's a great project.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the initiative you've taken on that. I love the looks of it. And it's, yeah, very, as a dog walker, I Yeah, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
You're all very welcome.
Are there any other comments? I also want to thank you, not just for the initiative you took to do this project, but you sought out the rangers, you went to the right people to make this project happen. But I would encourage you, don't ever stop volunteering. You did a great job here. You'll take that into your adult life, and I know you'll always do a great job in anything that you volunteer for, anything that you're doing. So thanks so much for stepping up and being a part of the Parks Department, helping us out.
Thank you so much.
And I should have said thanks to the Rangers, too, for guiding them along in this process. Appreciate it. All right, we're on item 10, presentation, discussion, and possible motion to the Board of County Commissioners to approve an agreement between Washoe County and Washoe Tennis Club for maintenance, use, and exclusive right to collect a fee for play to non-WTC members of Washoe Tennis Center, 2335 Moana Lane, Reno, with the initial fee for play to be $5 per day. Colleen,
Yes, thank you.
it's all yours.
Good afternoon, commissioners, staff, chair, vice chair. For the record, Colleen Wallace-Barnum, Park Operations Superintendent. So today I have a brief presentation that I put together. We were at the Park Commission back in March, so really just wanted to review what we did in March and then why we're here today. So in March, the Reno Tennis Club presented a proposal to collect a fee for play for non-Reno Tennis Club members. So just want to make sure everybody's aware that Washoe Tennis Club and Reno Tennis Club are one and the same. There's been a name change, and we'll get to that in just a moment. So when this was brought to the commission back in March, some of the feedback we received were the following bullet items. The agreement needs to include details of when the courts are available to the public. Will there be a reservation system? Concerns with checkerboarding and a test of the system first. How will fees be collected? How long will it take to institute? And then a recommendation to rebrand the Reno Tennis Club to Washoe Tennis Club, which has taken place. So at the time in March, it was direction for staff to negotiate a new agreement that provides for concessions, which is essentially collecting a fee for play for non-Washoe Tennis Club members. And that's today, before you today for approval. There are Washoe Tennis Club representatives here. We have Ray Woolley, the president. We have Carol Trenton and also Lou Kemper. And so they're here for any questions you may have. In addition, Denise did send a presentation, the presentation they provided in March, because I know there's some new commissioners, so maybe if you didn't get an opportunity to review that, if we want to go through that today, we can have that up if anybody needs to see some of those items from their presentation. So in the current agreement actually was went into effect February 29th of 2020. It's a 3-year agreement with 2 1-year annual renewal options, and it's been this way since 2007. So essentially, for 15 years, we've been doing this agreement with Reno Tennis Club. They are to maintain the premises, expend a minimum of $3,000 towards maintenance, repairs, and improvements. They mow the turf area, clean the shower stalls, clean restrooms, pick up litter, and remove trash. And then they do that for part of the period of time during the week. And then Washoe County Park staff, we provide the paper supplies, the cleaning the restrooms, picking up litter, and removing trash 2 times a week. So essentially, the other 5 days a week, that's being done by Reno Tennis Club. And if I say Reno Tennis Club and Washoe Tennis Club, they're one and the same. So excuse me if I go back and forth between the two. So in the current agreement, the exchange for maintenance and upkeep is that they are entitled to use the premises for their functions and league play. And it's been this way essentially since 2007. They can schedule league play on no more than 5 courts, and all other leagues can schedule no more than 3 courts. Since I've been doing this, I haven't had any other leagues come forward. It's really pretty much just been Reno Tennis Club. And league play is no more than 3 days a week. Reno Tennis Club is to provide the desired schedule in advance, and they do that regularly. They communicate with me via email if they have a special function, and it's usually always well in advance of 15 days. This is just an example of the type of league play that they do. This is what we would agree to annually for the club. And I think the only change that was made was that it's 12 noon, I think maybe in June, July, and August on Saturdays and Sundays. So instead of 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., it's 12 noon. So, but essentially it's going to be the same as that, no more than 3 courts for most of the time. During the adult season, it's 5 courts. And then essentially there's always 1 court available of the 6 courts for any member of the public who wants to come in and play tennis. So they're not denied access to the premises. So 1 tennis court's available for non-RTC members. And hold on, let me go back. Unless the county approves some type of a special function, I think they've reached out to me maybe 3 times total in 6 years to do a special event over a weekend, and they say, hey, can we use all the courts? And it might be 1 day. So I typically allow that from time to time, but it's pretty rare when they use all of the courts. So again, the proceeds have to be at least $3,000 annually. I can tell you I did the math. I think they put in at least I did an average about $14,500 on just the tennis court resurfacing, and that doesn't include, all of the cleaning and the other items that they do, in addition to other types of amenities that they have built on the property. If they do want to build any structures or put anything in addition on the property, they do have to request that in writing. It is in the agreement as well that they can do that, anything over $1,000, which is almost anything nowadays. And they can also have a tennis professional provide lessons for members. And the proposed agreement, I would say the proposed agreement is very similar to the current agreement. Essentially allowing the Washoe Tennis Club to exclusively, charge a fee for play. We wanted that fee, they requested $5 per day. This is consistent throughout the local area, in addition to throughout the nation. In their presentation, they did an analysis, and most tennis court complexes do a fee for play type of structure. Even they do it by the hour in many of them. So they're even charging less than what many of the local ones do currently. So if we approve today, it'll be a $5 per day fee for non-Washoe Tennis Club members. That fee collection is going to take place in both an Iron Ranger, and then also they have some online or some electronic applications in order to pay, such as Venmo or Zelle. And every year of the agreement, the desired fee for play will be presented to staff for approval by December 1st. And if approved, that fee will become effective January 1st of the subsequent year. And then a fiscal report on the allocations to include a breakdown of the fee for play collection shall be submitted to the county annually. So just to show, what kind of additional fees they are collecting. And just so you know, I put it in the staff report, and I'll just highlight it since I didn't put it in here. The reason for their desired fee for play collection is because their membership numbers went down starting in about 2015. So they started seeing the number of members decrease. They saw a slight spike in 2019 because Lake Ridge closed. Lake Ridge was a pretty big tennis club in the South Reno area. Then in 2020, it went back down during COVID, and then it went up again in 2021. So, trying to stabilize that money coming in, that's assisting with the court and general area maintenance. So up in front of you is a possible motion. Also wanted to mention that every other tennis court that Washoe County has in their parks, and we have multiple tennis courts throughout the county, are all free. So this is the only tennis court where we would be potentially charging a fee. So all the other free tennis courts, we have some tennis courts at Golden Valley Park, Mogul Park, Hidden Valley Regional Park, New Washoe City Park, Ellens Park, and Thomas Creek Park. So again, most of those courts are either going to be 1 or 2 courts, not a complex of 6. So I just want to make sure I mentioned that. And then in addition, I wanted to mention that, and I put it in the staff report, that in the 20-year master plan that was adopted in 2019, October 2019, this type of proposal is consistent with really trying to become more sustainable in our efforts to maintain our park facilities. So I applaud Reno Tennis Club and Washoe Tennis Club for coming forward and wanting to, figure out a way to how to maintain these courts to the best of their ability. That's all I have for you on my notes. Does anybody have any questions, or would you like to have any questions for the board?
Initially, we'd like to have questions for you. Any questions from anybody? Go ahead.
Well, I guess to start with, it looks like there's been a really long and fairly collaborative relationship with the tennis club. This has been going on for 15 years or better. During that time, have there been any complaints from non-members about use of this, or not being able to use it, or not being able to get in? Or?
We have had complaints. Usually they're we try to address them the best we can. I might, let the club members describe those complaints. I think it's a little bit more based on, a perception versus what's actually really happening, because sometimes that one court that's available to the public, it has a game on it. There might be some members of the public on that one court that's available to the public, not the league. And so if that's taken and there's a game going on, but it's a non-league game, it appears that there's no space for the public. So sometimes that's more of a perception-based complaint, but we have received them from time to time.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a couple of questions. So is the $5 just for the court, or is it per player?
Per player.
It's a per player fee.
And so potentially each player can pay $5 and have the court from noon until 7 p.m. at night?
That's a good question. I'm not sure how they want to manage the hours. I did see that they made some really good changes to their website, and it looked like they did have time slots, but I don't think they're doing time slots. And I can maybe let the club members answer that question, because I think that's a little bit more specific than I can answer.
So is there usually only the one court available?
No.
So whenever they do their league play, it's typically 3 days a week, and it's 3 courts. And then when they have adult league play, they can utilize up to 5 courts on the 3 days a week. So it's still really less than half the amount of time that the courts are available to the public. But I'm going to let, this is Mr. Ray Woolley, and he's the president, and maybe he can answer that question in regards to maybe the hour slot versus the per player fee collection.
Good afternoon. Lisa might have been a little bit confused. The $5 is for all day, the whole day, and the courts are only used for league plays. So let's say there's going to be league plays on Saturday and there's 2 leagues playing. Normally, a league match lasts about 2 hours, so from 12 to 2 would be the first one, and maybe the second one would be, if there's a second one that day, would be from 2 to 4. And as the matches conclude, that court will open up. So we're talking maybe 4 hours, maybe 5 hours on 2 days a week. And when the leagues are going on. And we've found when league play started up a number of years ago, it was really a big hit, and everybody wanted to play leagues. And we at Reno Tennis Club offered leagues to play from our club, and you had to be a member to play in the league. And we had to cap it at 10 leagues because there were so many people wanted to do that. Well, it's kind of fallen off a little bit. So this year in the adult league, I think we had maybe 3 teams, and of all the other tennis courts, including Tahoe Donner and Incline Village, there was maybe only 3 other teams, so there were not very many matches in between teams and clubs, and not all matches are played at Reno Tennis Club. Some matches are played at their facility. So we really don't find that we're using it for the league play that much. And one more thing, Doug, and we try and do it in the afternoon because in the summertime when leagues are going on, everybody wants to play in the morning, so we always leave the mornings open for all 6 courts for people to play. And it is a complaint by the leagues sometimes that they have to play in the hottest part of the day.
I want to clarify what Lisa said or asked. You're not suggesting that a foursome could pay $5 a person and hold a court all afternoon. You will have time slots.
Well, how we have it worked is there's a sign-up board.
Right.
So when you come out there to play, if there's an open court, you sign up for that court. And then you're allowed 1 hour of play and if somebody's waiting to play, then they'll sign up on the board in the waiting slot, and then they'll take a court. You can come off the court and sign back up and then get another court. So
Right.
you may play an hour and maybe get kicked off the court, and then in 15 minutes you'll be back on the court again.
Okay, and just for clarity, a foursome can come. They can rotate through the courts. If there's nobody there to play at all, obviously they could stay and play.
Just stay and play.
But if there's people waiting in line with the rackets or however you
Right.
do the signups there, they have to rotate in.
Right.
That's all I'm trying to get at. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I have one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you charge minors as well?
Well, we haven't got to that point. For our membership, the membership for juniors up to 18 years old is $30 for a whole year. So it's a pretty minimal fee, but we haven't really discussed it that much. But as of right now, I think we would probably charge. If yesterday, a high school senior was out there hitting with his dad, and both of them were not members. So they would have had to pay $5 apiece for both of them. And they were out there for quite a while. They never got kicked off.
And do you know, for instance, last year what you took in from the $5 per player?
Didn't charge.
Hasn't started yet.
For last year?
Last year they did not charge. This is a new program.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I have a question for Colleen, please. Actually, a couple of questions, but the first one, the fees collected will be used specifically for maintenance of the facility?
Correct.
Okay. And how will it be monitored? And what the point I'm trying to get at, if somebody doesn't pay a fee, if you find that somebody's not paying fees, who is going to monitor that? Who is going to make the collection? And will our staff have to be involved in that process?
I think we were talking about that at the March meeting,
Right.
and we discussed that we would not have park rangers going out and monitoring any of that, that non-compliance, right? So hopefully non-compliance would be, would be dealt with on a, maybe a basis of, I think they're out there pretty regularly watching. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Ray's out there 6 o'clock in the morning, like sweeping, and he'd be paying attention, I think I wouldn't want Ray to be talking to me about not paying a fee. But I think they would try to monitor within their club.
And that's the point I'm trying to make. I personally, I don't feel the staff should be involved in the collection of those fees. If the club is not, if nobody's there to monitor what's going on, who knows what's going to happen. But if somebody's there, I assume, I mean, I've seen these things work quite often in the past where Joe member gets upset because he sees Mr. X and his partner come on the courts and they didn't pay. So Joe X decides, I'm going to go talk to him. So there's a potential for conflict. I just want to make sure that we're not setting ourselves up for any issues there relative to any conflicts, and certainly not getting staff involved.
And I believe we agreed upon that it would be Washoe Tennis Club members managing any types of issues. And when the issue arises to the point where they feel like I need to be involved, they will usually forward me emails and get me involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Can I mention one more thing?
Certainly.
Just this week, the money that goes into that we collect goes into the facility. Like I say, we resurface 2 courts every year. So we have, in my opinion, the nicest tennis courts in all of Reno. It's a win-win situation for Washoe County and for the Reno Washoe Tennis Club. Starting yesterday, Color Crafters is out there and we're resurfacing 2 courts. Cost of the resurface this year was $17,200. So there are, funds being spent towards the club.
And personally, Ray, from my perspective, I wasn't trying to diss that because you guys over the years, the club over the years has done a terrific job. Yeah. And the courts would not be in the shape they're in today had you not stepped up as a club and worked an agreement with Washoe County to make that happen. So I do appreciate it. I see the other public courts that we have around the area, and I think the county does a good job for a public agency, but it's awful tough to keep up tennis courts, as we all know. Right. And what you do over there is fantastic, and I applaud your efforts.
Well, you play tennis, so you appreciate that.
I did. Yes, I do. I do appreciate it. Any other comments?
Chair Doolittle, this is Commissioner Joel. I have a couple questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. So I'm curious, do you have any current data on the users of the tennis courts with club members versus the non-club members that would now be paying a fee?
Well, we don't have any actual numbers, but we do know that occasionally when we have our board meeting in the afternoon at the tennis courts, we kind of take a look and see who are members and who are not members. And it tends to be 50-50 of those people that are playing out there later in the afternoon. In the mornings, it's avid tennis players, but avid club members. And so I would say 90% of the people that play there in the morning are already members. And I grew up playing there, and when I first started playing there, I just knew that the right thing to do was to pay your dues because it went for the tennis club. There was no demand that I had to do that, but it just was the right thing to do. And it just seems like things have changed a little bit. I would say that maybe 20-25% of the people cannot pay it. I could be way off, or I could be really close.
Okay, thank you. My next question is probably for Colleen. Colleen, do you feel that there will be a reduction in staff time or maintenance costs with the Reno Tennis Club collecting a fee and taking on additional maintenance responsibilities? I just want to make sure I understand that correctly.
So we would probably be spending the exact same amount of time. So I think it's 2 days a week that we are in the agreement is lined out 2 days a week that we deal with trash, restroom cleaning, and I think litter removal. Otherwise, I think the general maintenance would remain the same. I think if they are collecting fees and we see that the fee collection is reasonable, like for example, from time to time we have Washoe County has resurfaced a couple of the tennis courts, so we took on that cost. I would imagine that if they are earning enough money from those non-members paying their $5 or their fee for play, that we wouldn't need to throw in dollars for resurfacing, that they could take care of the resurfacing through the club.
Thank you for that. So I have two suggestions for consideration. The first is that we consider a definitive time period, kind of as a trial, and just like reevaluate it in 1 year, just in case that staff time goes through the roof and dealing with complaints from non-members about paying or settling disputes on the court about, so-and-so paid and so-and-so didn't or something like that. It's hard to forecast exactly what that would be. And so my suggestion would be just to do like a 1 year trial and revisit this in a year to either make it permanent or modify it. And then my second suggestion would be, and I agree with the comment that was brought up about, whether or not to charge kids. Just my thought is that general neighborhood there is socioeconomically disadvantaged. And if there is a student or a child there that is interested in tennis and suddenly they no longer have access to public facilities at no cost, that may be a barrier for their participation because they do not have the option to, have transportation to some of the other free courts that are further away. And so my suggestion would be to have RTC consider perhaps like a 1 day a week or 1 day a month to have a free tennis day or a morning or an afternoon or something that fits in their schedules around their league play. Just to ensure that we are still providing that opportunity for people that may not have the ability to travel to free courts elsewhere.
Okay, I believe a previous commissioner had mentioned a desire to have some type of a fee waiver for I don't know if it was for youth or if it was for folks that that couldn't afford the fee. I think she was talking about a scholarship program.
Yeah, and we're not just trying to take money from everybody. This last weekend, we were to deal with the Sierra Junior Tennis Association, and we gave up all 6 courts for the entire day so that they could run a tournament there. And actually, they came to us afterwards. I think it was a real success. They seemed to think it was. And they came to us and offered us $200 and we told them we didn't want the money for that. I think it's just, we want to be as fair as possible. And if we waive the fee for kids, then that's fine too. And if we have people that can't afford to do it, and that's something that we could look at as per person situation, and I'm sure we could work something out.
I love the idea of waiving the fee for minors.
Thank you for those comments.
Thank you for the comments. Are there any other comments or questions from the commissioners?
I have a quick comment. This is Commissioner Kearney. I want to thank you for the new logo and the new website. I'm looking at it here on my phone. Whoever designed your logo looks great. And I want to thank you for hearing what some of that concern was and addressing it so quickly.
Is he talking about
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other comments?
Thank you.
Hearing none, are there any public comments?
There's no public comment.
Hearing no public comments, I'd like to have a motion for approval, and I would have the commissioners understand that any of the items that were discussed that you want included would have to be a part of that motion. Is there a motion?
I will, this is Commissioner Joel. I will make a motion to approve for a 1-year trial basis and to have it revisited in 1 year.
So
Does that include waiving the fee for minors or not?
I will amend my motion to make that recommendation, but I think we've made that suggestion, and I think should leave it up to Washoe Tennis Club to sort that out.
So if I, go ahead.
This is Deputy District Attorney Lindsay Liddell for the record. I just wanted to clarify, Commissioner Joel, your motion. The proposed contract has a 3-year term. And so it sounds to me like your motion, and I also wanted to clarify that this body is a recommending body, so the action that you all will take today is to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners that they approve and enter into this agreement. So it sounds to me as though your motion, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to approve this agreement with a change that it be for a 1-year term and include a fee waiver for minors. Is that correct?
That's how I understood it.
Commissioner Joel, is that how you understand it?
If I may make a comment.
Just a minute.
Yes, although I feel that we have made our points, Commissioner Road and myself, about fee waivers for youth. But I do think that we should probably leave that decision up to WTC. So I do not feel that we need to include that in the motion.
And if I'm understanding you right, you do not want to include the fee waiver in the motion for children?
That is correct, not as part of the motion, but I think that we have made some good points and they understand, and I think they will evaluate that and do it if they feel they can.
All right.
Okay, do you mind if I step in just a moment? In item 16 of the agreement, there is the ability to change the agreement if so needed. So we could put that in writing that we would have it for a year trial period, so that we could have that in writing and signed by both parties so that we can at least address that change. And then the comment that I heard from Mr. Woolley was that most children who play at the facility are grandfathered in because they are part of a family membership of their family. So when they come, they're coming as part of a family. So they aren't charged a fee regardless, or the fee has been taken care of by the family membership.
Well, thank you for the comments. I just want to make certain we stay on track here. We have a motion. We don't have a second yet, though. Is there a second? Hearing no second for that motion fails. Is there another motion?
Okay.
Hearing none, I'll make
Just
the...
let me.
Okay.
I just want to clarify a point with Lindsay.
Yeah.
There is a clause in here, a get out, if you will, a 90-day. If there's some, if it isn't working out, Parks Department writes a letter, says, we don't like how this is working out. We have 90 days to get out. Is that correct?
Yeah, if I may, Chair, for the record, Eric Crump with Washoe County's Community Services Department. You are correct, Commissioner Dake. There's a couple of clauses in this agreement that may satisfy some of what Commissioner Joel is referring to. One is obviously the termination clause that allows us to get out if either party or especially them are not holding up their end of the bargain. But more importantly, I think Section 16 of the agreement allows for modifying the agreement agreed to by both parties. So that would allow us, if say after a year we recognize that the fee structure isn't working or something else isn't working, we can come back to the drawing board and amend the agreement without doing the entire agreement. It's much easier to do that. It's pretty laborsome to bring an agreement forward annually. We try to do multi-year contracts for obvious reasons. We got to go to this board. We have to go to the board of county commission. We have to seek legal counsel and kind of go back and forth and negotiate. So we really look for multi-year agreements. But with this language, it could potentially satisfy Commissioner Joel's concern about coming back. It would allow for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
With those, well, there's that concern, being able to terminate this contract or change it as we need to, and that looks like it's addressed in the contract that's been presented. The waiver of fees at the discretion of the tennis club, does that need to be a contractual thing, or is that just an operational? The way the club operates, they can make that discretion as needed?
If I may recommend, maybe we could request that we get that in the report, that we could have a breakdown of minors versus adults being charged, assuming we know. But Ray, I'll let you speak on that.
Yeah, I think that's something that we could work with for sure. Reno Tennis Club is an adult tennis club. So I would say 95% of the people that play there are adults. We do get some kids. Mostly the kids that come there are kids of the adults that play there. So we don't go out and seek to get kids to come and play there. And if they know that the courts are there and they come down and play, that's not a problem at all. I think that's a good thing for us and for the kids to allow them to play.
Thank you.
Thank you. With those clarifications, I'm going to move that we recommend to the Board of County Commissioners approve the agreement as written between Washoe County and the Washoe Tennis Club.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Before we get to a vote, do we need to read out the motion, or would that suffice?
I believe Commissioner Dake's motion was just as the agreement as stated, and I think that is sufficient if you wanted to clarify that it's
I can read the whole statement if needed, but
you don't need to.
That's great. All right. We have a motion with the second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for working together to get this back before us.
Great, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item 12, quarterly update of the off-leash dog pilot program, which allows off-leash dogs during certain hours in areas of North Valley's Lazy 5 and South Valley's parks by Celia Walker, Park Ranger 2. Updates will include status of the program and observation of the public's participation in the program since November 2021. Thank you. Ranger Walker.
Thank you. I'm Celia Walker, Park Ranger. And yeah, this is it's the third quarterly review of the program since last November. And let's do this. So I know we have some new commissioners. Last November, we approved to test a one-year pilot program to allow 3 of our soccer fields to be used as off-leash dog use during non-soccer times. So that would be November through February. We have all hours, park hours for off-leash use, and then the same 3 parks have off-leash use 8 to 1, Monday through Friday, during the teen times, but non-use, March through November, when soccer's in session. Our first park is North Valley's Regional Park. It's the 80 by 80 soccer field at the end of Silver Lake. And for this quarterly update, we are pretty consistent, about 15 to 20 people per day from May until right now. We have quite a few people. A regular group meets there every morning, about 7:30 in the morning. I see on the North Valley's community site and look at people's comments. They love it. They're very grateful to have it. This particular field, there wasn't a soccer team there practicing even during the season. So there has been some weekend use and such due to no one else using the field, which is okay. There wasn't soccer in session, but we're still informing those people that normally there is soccer here and you have to go by the hours. I've only found 2 dog waste piles on the field. Same with maintenance, nothing has been reported. And our garbage cans have been mostly full of dog waste bags. We haven't had any calls to animal services. And I've replaced 10 boxes of dog waste bags. They're 200 bags each. No damage reports. And there have been less dogs off leash on the baseball fields. It's good to give them that option if you do see anyone. Second park is Lazy 5. We have the lower soccer field during certain hours for off leash. They're reporting about 30 users per day on average. The staff has not picked up any dog waste on the field, which is great, and no calls to animal services. They've replaced 5 boxes of bag. Most people bring their own. And no damage reports. And Lazy 5 now also has regular users coming every day. Staff did report that many people are still unaware that the field is for off-leash use during certain times. So a request for more publicity if this becomes a permanent feature. South Valleys, we have the lower soccer field between the library and the playground. On average, about 40 people per day. It continues to be our most popular field. About 31 warnings and interactions by staff during non-off-leash times when soccer is playing there. 5 dog waste piles have been picked up, so tons less from the last quarterly update, which is good. 0 calls to animal services, and 26 dog waste boxes have been replaced. No damage reports. Did get an email for a suggestion of more dedicated dog parks in South Reno, and complaint that off-leash fields have too limited hours during soccer season. They wanted Washoe County to have an actual dog park in South Reno. Complaint of an aggressive German Shepherd and an abrasive owner. This was on July 15th. Park Ranger Andy suggested the owners reach out to animal control to file a report and follow up. But talking with animal control, they never received a report. 2 regular volunteers at South Valleys, they are on poop patrol, and they're doing great. Their comments, it's working very well. They go almost every morning. People and dogs are friendly. So that one of the German Shepherd was, a very minor complaint there. Whites Creek, this park was part of our original 4 parks that we were going to have the off-leash field at. So we're just taking an update during the year to see if we want to add it in November or not. And during park patrols, staff have observed 11 people and 12 dogs on the field. They've picked up 11 dog waste piles up on the field. And staff are continuing to inform the public that dogs must be on leash at this park and giving them the option of South Valleys to take their dog to. Animal control, we've been calling them just to do park patrols as well at Whites Creek, just to inform people that it's not an off-leash field. So here's the summary for this quarter. Total average users for our 3 fields are 90 people plus their dogs. South Valleys is still the busiest. We've replaced 41 dog waste boxes total. And yeah, 7 dog waste piles picked up, so that's not much at all. It's pretty good. No damage, no calls to animal services, and comments from the public and personal interactions have been 90% positive. The only emails I got were the suggestions for additional dog parks in South Reno and the aggressive dog and owner. No sport leagues have reached out about any complaints of dog waste or interactions. And our final quarterly update will be in November to decide whether this becomes a permanent feature or not. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions from commissioners?
Is there any opportunity to offer that additional park in the south?
Are you referring to Whites Creek?
Well, you said the most used park. Was that the South Reno?
Yeah, South Valleys is our most popular off-leash field. But we don't have any plans to create another off-leash field or dog park right now in South Reno. Not yet.
So you're just a victim of your own success.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Questions? So yeah, thank you very much for piloting the program and leading it, and to all the rangers that are out there dealing with the dog issues in all of our parks, not just the 3 pilot parks, but it's a tough management issue, but you're doing a great job. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Are there any public comments?
No public comment.
Thank you. Okay, item 13, park reports. Colleen.
Okay, for the record, Colleen Wallace-Barnum, Park Operations Superintendent. So we made it through July, Parks and Recreation Month. It is busy out there, as you can see from the highlights. The Hawkins Amphitheater, evenings on the ranch, both of those at Bartley Ranch Park. We have campfire programs. Davis Creek Park has Saturday evening presentations. We have the, the 40th anniversary celebration at Rancho San Rafael Park. And just you name it, it's happening out there. If you haven't been out to Dragon Lights Reno at the Wilbur D. May Arboretum and Botanical Gardens, it'll be available until August 12th. We've had the lowest attendance was July 4th, which I believe was 700 people, and then anywhere from 1,000 to almost 4,000 a day. So it's been incredibly busy, very popular, and you'll probably see a lot of postings on social media about that. We do have a couple of exhibits in the May Museum as well. Those exhibits are Sierra watercolors, and then the other exhibit is, sorry, let me pull it up. I forgot the name of it. My apologies. The Illusions of Safety, and that goes on to the end of August. So if you have an opportunity to get in and see those exhibits, they're very intriguing. And our volunteer hours drop during these months because it's so hot out there. I don't know how many people want to go out there and volunteer when it's 100 degrees, but we'll see those numbers spike again once we get back into the fall months. And Denise Evans does a great job with the volunteer programs. So just wanted to highlight those programs. And does anybody have any questions?
Any questions, please?
Okay, we'll do a.
Seeing none, public comments.
No public comment.
Thank you, Colleen.
Okay, and we'll do a full report on Dragon Lights Reno and once we wrap everything up, probably in September or October. Thank you.
At the end of, can I ask at the end of the summer, sometime in probably October, just an update on golf report rounds, et cetera, just how things are going. I mean, you do a written report, which is great, but just to give a kind of quick synopsis of what's going on out there.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 14, Director's Report.
Good afternoon. Again, for the record, Dave Solero, Assistant County Manager, Director of the Community Services Department. Just a couple of items. The board in the last month has accepted almost $11,000 in donations to parks, and I think it's fairly consistent that that's a number that comes up month after month for the community to put back into their parks system, and it's really nice to have that support from our community. The board also approved the Silver Arrow Bowman's agreement with the Regional Archery Facility. They adopted the Hidden Valley Master Plan on your recommendation. And then they also approved a golf course development agreement for Wild Creek Golf Course with First Tee. And so what this allows us to do now is actually transfer a portion of the property to First Tee. We're still, as you'll recall, working through with the BLM on a 40-acre parcel to the north that is an R&PP lease with the BLM to actually purchase that property, and then we will do a boundary line adjustment. So this development agreement allows that to occur, allows First Tee to take ownership of the property and start their fundraising campaign to update that property. So some good things going on there. Chair Doolittle, I've got the note here to make sure that we get the golf operators actually back in to talk with you about how golf is doing, and that's something that they are required to do on a yearly basis. So we'll go ahead and have them do that in the fall, kind of after kind of the wrap up of the summer golf season. Also wanted to let the board know the issue with Silver Knolls Park and the watering. We've come to some interim agreement with the Silver Knolls Mutual Water Company, and so we began watering the park up there again mid-month. Just saw some pictures. It's starting to actually green back up, so that's good for the community out there. One of the things I did ask that group out there was to really get with us about a 5-year water schedule, water use payment schedule, and then to start looking forward to what happens in 10 years when a development actually does come in that brings less expensive water to the park, and how are they going to deal with that as the park is one of the largest users. So we're working through that process with them, but glad to report back that the water has been turned back onto that park. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions that the board may have.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
So on that water issue up there, there was, as we call, some discussion with the owner, horrible cost of the water being trucked in. Is that correct? What's been the resolution there?
So we have agreed to a lesser essential charge for the first 35,000 gallons. In January, the company up there went from $700 per month for the county to $3,000 per month. We have agreed for this year to pay $1,000 for the first 35,000 gallons, and then the same tiered rate that the residents use out there. So we were going through a period where we would bring, I don't know if it actually occurred, but we were keeping track of the tree health. We wanted to make sure that the trees were healthy up there, and if they were going to require some water, we were going to truck some water in from our North Valleys location. I don't know if that actually occurred or not, but we've come to some resolution, at least to provide water to the park.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? See none. Any public comments?
No public comment.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks.
All right, item 15, Commissioner requests for future agenda items. Any requests or any comments? Commissioners up there? None. All right. Last item before adjournment, public comments.
No public comment.
No public comments. Item 17, adjournment. We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you all.